intent driven. It is for
content
search.
marketing, which is very, very popular now.
Okay, anytime you guys have questions, again, like Charles, just show your hand, ask anything you want. Okay, right at the start, that's me when I had more brown, reddish hair. I run a couple of different businesses. I have run different businesses since about when I was 13, as young as it sounds. I think right at the start when I was 13, I printed out, have computer problems, call some mobile number, and I cut out slips of paper, went to every single post box around Bishan where I stayed, and put it in the letterbox, and I got calls. I went to some of these places, and sometimes they see this little kid and they go, oh, never mind, you close the door. Other times they will see a little kid and go, oh, so cute. But then you come in, there's cake, there's candy, stuff like that. Ever since then, I've tried a lot of different things. One of it is twisted balloons. If you've seen in Marina Square every year, during March, you'll see this large-scale balloon decorations. We've done, I think the second time that we did it, we broke the Guinness World Record for the world's largest balloon sculpture. We did things like pirate ship, carnival, balloon, fairyland, all that kind of stuff. And we actually went on regional. We did things in China, in Malaysia, in the Philippines. Right now we have a regional team that does all this kind of stuff. So that was an attempt at educating the market to create more awareness for the kind of things balloons can do, and not just the standard dog, sword kind of stuff. I have another business that deals with casino fraud management. That's as niche B2B business as you're ever going to get, because there's a really finite number of casinos in the world that we can really target. In fact, in US, the last I counted 2 years ago was 482. That's the maximum number of casinos in the US plus South America altogether. Right, and of course you've probably seen the name Searix Solutions. That's my current main focus company. We're a business technology consultancy. We focus a lot on software development as well as any other end-to-end service. So we provide things like consulting on how you're going to set up your system structure, your network infrastructure, all the way to digital marketing aspects and SEO. So I focus a lot, inevitably, on online and offline growth and lead generation techniques. This is how everyone gets customers, myself to say. Right? And I've been very, very super passionate about SEO ever since I was very young. Like the Alta Vista days, where you see websites with those lots of text at the bottom, same color text in color background, and it's all spam over there. If you remember those kind of sites, I've been doing SEO since back then until now. So I think let's talk a little bit about growth hacking first, right? Can you still hear me? Okay. So I think growth hacking, a lot of this, how would I put it? Everyone thinks of this term as a marketing term right now, because you're very familiar with the AARR concept, some of you are, right? But growth hacking doesn't need to be just limited to just marketing. It can be also applied to things like capability development, productivity improvement. As long as you have a way to increase your revenue or reduce your profit, increase your lead generation, anything like that, it should be considered growth hacking. But of course, for the purposes of this session, that's limited to just what Wikipedia, which schools I think still don't allow you to use the definitions as definitions. Right? Marketing channels, product development to identify effective ways to grow a business, and there you have your AARR. Acquisition, activation, retention, referral revenue. Who has not heard of this? Everyone has? Okay, I can skip. Now, so there are lots of ways to growth hack in a SaaS model. There's a lot of ways to growth hack in a global market. You have to do things like your abandoned cart features, you have to do things like your drip campaigns and all that kind of stuff. But how about in Singapore specifically? Right? And of course, you can growth hack a digital product in many, many ways. But what if you run an offline business? First thing what you need to do is get leads from the government. It's a very, very simple thing because we stay in Singapore. Right? You see the dollar sign there. Singapore is rich. As everyone knows. GBiz is one thing that you need to do. So maybe get a quick show of hands. Who is not on GBiz? Oh, there are a few not on GBiz. Okay. Anyway, GBiz has $10 billion of expenditure every year. Last year, there was $2.8 billion in ICT projects. And it's pretty much available in every single category. Like government, whatever the government wants to procure, they go through GBiz, right? And they give you very, very consistent opportunities. In fact, you look at this, almost every single thing that a business can possibly do, most likely is there. What's not there? 22 words. There's still more that doesn't fit in there. So if you run a business, you do B2B, government in Singapore is pretty much like a business. Okay, so very simple, you register as a trading partner, you obtain your EPPU rating, which basically tells the government that you will not run away with the project after you win it. So, who hasn't gotten the EPPU rating? All have? Okay, fantastic. Now, who hasn't listed items in the GBiz mall yet? Anyone knows what the GBiz mall is? Wait. So every time people don't raise their hands, am I supposed to assume that you guys have already done it, or you guys don't know? Okay, GBiz Mall is something like almost like an e-commerce platform within GBiz itself. Okay, everyone who goes on first, you get a hosting plan, which allows you to post 10 items for free. So a hosting plan is like a category listing. You have a category, you post 10 things up there for free. You want more plans, you pay for them. And for GBiz, if you want a second, the first user is free to do all these things. The second user, actually, you have to pay $180 a year. All right. You should definitely post things on the GBiz Mall. Why? Because government agencies, government officials, they actually use it. As much as a lot of people don't know what it really is. So, from personal experience, I have listed a lot of things on GBiz, and although they don't buy directly, they actually call me. Just put your contact information up there, you get calls somehow. Okay, when we talk about lead acquisition, this is as simple as it gets. It's free, it's the government, they have lots of money, they won't run away, they will pay you. Okay, and of course, the next thing to do, you want to find out when there are opportunities. So a very quick understanding of what opportunities are for those who do not have a GBiz account yet. There are three things: a direct purchase order, direct PO, an ITQ, and an ITT. Invite to tender, invite to quote and invite to tender. Right. So for educational institutes and some other government agencies, the cap for government for them to be able to purchase directly is $15,000. For the rest, it's actually $5,000 or $3,000. Three, yes. Okay, so up to $7,000, it's up to $70,000 is an ITT. Up to $7,000 you can sometimes buy, and up to $70,000 and above you have to do a tender. Previously it's a quotation. Sometimes you only need 3 quotations, and then you get they can shortlist you and purchase from you from there. So after you have all this, you need to actually track. There are 2 very simple ways to track. First way is via the SME portal. You just log in, it is supported by Spring, developed by NCS. Under your account, you can see GBiz alert categories, just select whatever you want to follow. And every day, they will send you a very functional looking email. Orange color, it brightens up your day, every day. Every day in the morning, I see this. Okay. Another way you can do it is actually by RSS feeds if you want to. If you don't use RSS feed readers, that's fine. You can also use other kind of tracking services that are around. Just Google for them to find them. Okay. One tip before we end off this whole GBiz thing is the difference between ITQ and ITT is the amount of money, right? $7,000, $70,000. So look at the job posting that they have, and then see whether it's in ITQ or ITT. So you know approximately what their budget is. See the budget, and then you know how much to actually bid on it. So if they're doing ITQ, you don't bother and bid something like $200,000 for a project. You definitely will not get it. Okay, now, next thing is, in Singapore, we have a lot of big boys, like government agencies and stuff, because again, we are from Singapore after all, right? You have Temasek, GMC, and all that kind of stuff. You have Sesame. Who hasn't heard of Sesame? Yes, some response finally. Okay, So Sesame is pretty much what we call a procurement platform. PO, you can do POs, ITQs, everything from there. And every year they have more than $5 billion of EPOs being sent out on Sesame. So ST, CAG, SETS, OCBC, DBS, SIA, HG, AHG, WS, and a lot more all use Sesame for their platform, their procurement. Right, and again, they provide very, very consistent opportunities. So, this is an example of the Changi eProcure platform. The thing about this is, every single time you want to tender, you need an account, and to get an account, you have to pay. The amount ranges from a few $100+ to I think $200+, $300 at most. And every organization has its own. But the good news is, before you do any of that, you can actually see your current procurement opportunities. They actually post their jobs in advance. You can see details of them, and then if you decide, okay, I want to tender for them, then yeah, you go ahead. So you can also track all these kind of tenders through, this is Singtel My Business. No, okay, yeah, so Singtel My Business. Again, you can actually reach out to other kind of aggregators, tender aggregators in Singapore. There are some that track like 60+ different sources from TUB, from GIC, and all that kind of stuff. And you can get a daily email feed on all the different opportunities that are available for the day. Okay, now, one more tip is if you are looking for some other places to look for tenders apart from online, you can actually check out the classifieds in Straits Times. It is, not a lot of people will expect it, but SEH posts their tenders on Straits Times. They don't have an online version, they don't post it on their Facebook page, they don't post it on straitstimes.com. You can't find it anywhere except for the printed version of the classifieds. Digital economy, okay? Now, next thing I want to talk about, we graduated from all that GB's government stuff, is email marketing. I think Charles talked a little bit about that just now. So a few interesting things about email marketing in Singapore, right? First thing is, if you run a business and you are marketing to another business, the PDPA doesn't really apply to you. Right, so the do not call registry, all that kind of stuff, you don't really have to follow it. Because you're a business, you're not representing a personal life, you're representing a business. Okay? And next thing, this is a trivia. Automated email harvesting is illegal. So the Spam Control Act 2008, I'm not a lawyer, okay, disclaimer first, not a lawyer, but based on my interpretation and based on what I read in the Law Gazette, if you use a dictionary attack to generate the email addresses and send them out, or you automatically harvest these emails, you use an email harvesting software to send or cause to be sent these emails, technically you are breaking the law. And there are also bulk emailing laws that are applicable. So, have you seen those emails that at the start you have the angular bracket ADV, angular bracket space, and then the title? Actually, you have to follow the exact same, the exact string. Angular bracket ADV bracket space. The 6 characters are actually defined. If you do not have the space, technically you're breaking the law again. But, who's going to enforce that, right? So, bear in mind that these laws are actually from 2008. We are like 9 years past that. So a lot of the laws are not very, very updated. Personal opinion. Okay, and not saying you should, but you could buy this. Like Charles mentioned that they bought this from other companies. There are ways to buy lists online. A lot of sources actually sell them. We can debate a lot about the ethics about buying lists and using them. But I think the end of the day is it's not really about the list that you buy or don't buy. Because if I wanted an email list, I can go to each website of the people I want to reach out to and get the emails one by one instead of automatically harvesting them. And I'll still end up with a list anyway. Right? It's not really about how you get the list that's effective, but how you use them. So I'll give you 2 examples. Okay? This is an actual email that was sent to me just last week or 2 weeks back. It starts off with, "Dear Executive," and then a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't actually read until now. Okay, anyway. And then this is also another actual email that I received about the same time, just a couple of days apart. both of them are actually conferences in Singapore. Okay, so what's your first thought when you see the first one? Okay, I show you what's my first thought. Literally, you can see the question marks on top of my head like that. Yeah, I had no idea what this thing was. But the second one, basically, they were asking me whether I could spare them a few minutes to talk about the event, because I was a past participant of the event, and I was like, oh yeah, sure, I can spare 5 minutes. They actually called me from London to try to get me like 3 times. I was in Cambodia, they failed twice, and then I was in Hanoi, and they failed twice again. Sorry, one more time, before they finally got me in Singapore. Right. So basically, we can talk a lot about email marketing techniques. We can talk about hours of techniques that we can use to do proper email marketing, how we can do drip campaigns, how do you want to do it such that it doesn't really violate Singapore laws, because, one thing that I forgot to mention, Singapore law about email marketing. If you send more than 100 emails in 24 hours, or 1,000 emails in 1 month, or 10,000 emails in 1 year, technically you're doing bulk marketing, and you have to do that whole EDD, bracket, space stuff, according to that act. Again, I don't know who's going to enforce it. Everyone has more or less understood that it is hard to enforce. Not saying that you should do it, or not follow it, but it is hard to enforce. Okay, so, oops. Anyway, using a certain type of email marketing technique, this is an actual case that I did. Okay, so Searix, we actually do event support systems. Things like registration systems, lucky draw systems, voting systems, lucky draw systems that travel companies use. Okay, voting systems, social media, all that kind of stuff for a lot of event companies. The first time we created a software, we wanted to market it, right? I mean, who else is going to use it? So I personally went to about 100 to 100 different event company websites in Singapore, went to their website, went to see, oh, they do this certain kind of event, I want them to be a partner. So I collected their email address, their phone number, and all that kind of stuff. Sent a marketing campaign. 100 out of 100, I had an 80% read rate. Out of that 80%, I had a 67% response rate. And out of those 100 companies, 40 of them are partners now. Initial 100. Okay, and of course we did a lot of subsequent marketing stuff after that. There is a right way to do email marketing, and we can talk a lot about that later on, but not now. Now, next thing, I want to talk a little bit about this concept of 1 new lead each day. Just a straw poll, okay? How many of you get more than 1 lead a day? I know you have. Okay. How many of you get more than 5 leads a day? Okay, a few of you. Now, if your business can have 1 new lead every single day, wouldn't that be good? I mean, even if your conversion rate is like 5%, 2%, 1 new lead a day from 1 channel, 100 days or 50 days, you can get something. Right, so then comes advertising, right? Who did I expect that? AdWords is actually a very, very fantastic form of advertising. The main thing is that it's intent driven. It is for the search portion, it's intent driven. Of course, there's a lot of other stuff like your YouTube side of things and the display section, all that kind of stuff. But for search, it's really, really intent driven. And it allows you to target in Singapore or interest in Singapore. And that makes it relevant. In this case of B2B Growth Hacking in Singapore, right? The main thing is you must have a high quality score in order for your advertisements to do well. Who knows what quality score is? Yeah, okay, the Google. Okay, so quality score has 3 components, right? The relevance, the expected click-through rate, and your landing page quality. If you can achieve good metrics in all of them, essentially what you can do is you reduce the amount that you spend to achieve a higher rank in your advertising. Because in your search results, and I'm talking about pure the search part of it only, right? There are usually up to 3 or 4 different advertising listings before the organic listings come. So it allows you to pay lesser, generally, to get a higher ad ranking. And of course, there is also Facebook ads. Charles talked quite a bit about them just now. Instead of it being intent-driven, it's more interest-driven. And it also allows you to target Singapore and target by different interests. Thing is, just like Google, it also has a certain score that you need to abide by, which is the relevance score. And that is determined by your engagement. So anything that has likes, comments, shares, that's positive engagement. Anything that someone see already, report, that's bad engagement, right? And we have LinkedIn ads. These are the three main social media platforms that are really, really popular that are really applicable also to B2B stuff. And LinkedIn ads, they are interest and desire driven, depending on how you use them. They allow you to target Singapore, and very specifically for businesses, they allow you to target by role or industry. So if you want to target very, very specific people based on industry or role, LinkedIn is what you want to use, right? And of course, they have the relevance score as well. Yes.
So just to go back to Facebook one.
Sure.
Since you run a few B2B businesses, how effective is Facebook in B2B marketing?
For B2B marketing in Facebook, it depends on how you use it. Sometimes sometimes it doesn't give very good results. But if you target the right kind, like for example, if you provide services to entrepreneurs, okay, your kind of business targets entrepreneurs, and you target entrepreneurs, people who participate in the tech community or business community on Facebook, yes, you can achieve pretty good results over there. So it's really targeting more on the interest type based on your business rather than I would say the end users. Like people will think the people who use LinkedIn are more on the professional mindset, and instead on Facebook everyone's there for social purposes. It doesn't work, but if you target the right way, it actually can get really good results. Charles will agree. Okay, LinkedIn, right. So if you can track conversions, you can reduce your cost. How many of you track conversions on your advertising? Very good. 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I see 4? 4, 5, 5. It's like an auction. Okay. When you create an online advertisement, you must track conversions, because if you don't know how well your advertisement is performing. And then pretty much your online advertisement doesn't really have any real difference than, let's say, a magazine advertisement. You don't know how effective it really, really, really is. Right? So Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, they all allow you to do conversion tracking. For Google, it even allows you to convert your bidding method to cost per action or cost per acquisition, which actually is much more effective and a better way to bid than CPC or CPM. We can talk about that another time, right? It also allows you, like I said, to effectively calculate your return on ad spend, because that is what you really need to know in order to determine how effective your advertising is. So if you haven't done it already, please go back and track conversions. Okay? Now, next idea is you can actually stalk your customers, your visitors, your leads, and ask them again. So I'm very sure all of you have seen the whole thing about like hotels.com, Expedia, TripAdvisor. You go check out something, like you check out a flight, and then a while later on Facebook you see, oh, okay, I have all this. I search for a flight to Tokyo, for example. You go back to Facebook, you see, oh, Tokyo flights from this date to this date. It is all what we call remarketing, retargeting. So Google and Facebook allow you to do this. LinkedIn, not yet. Or rather, they used to allow you to do that, but not anymore. I'm not sure why. But most likely, I mean, this is a very, very good tool. I expect them to have this again. So adding this is as simple as, if you use the tag manager, Google Tag Manager, it's very easy to just add in a remarketing tag. Otherwise, retargeting tracking is just as simple as adding in another pixel. If you really do analytics on your website, this is just one more step. A lot of you will probably realize things, companies like RateMart, they utilize this pretty effectively. Like they will have, if you have things in your cart, they can actually show you advertisements of things that are still in your cart and ask you would like to check out. Anyone experienced that before? Yes? Okay. One person. Thanks. And, okay. Another thing about asking if an offer, right, is to actually give a discount. It's a very effective method of actually getting more click-throughs. Last thing is, let me give you a scenario. So I'm going to Tokyo in April. So imagine if I search for a trip, a flight to Tokyo. And I didn't buy the air ticket or the accommodation in the end. Okay, and I see an advertisement that goes, best hotel to view sakura bloom from. Selling out fast. This kind of targeted advertisement is not exactly something that goes like, I'm going to repeat my offer again to you, but you're trying to find a different angle to find some form of relevance. So if you are able to detect, let's say in the tour industry, right, you're able to detect certain periods for very popular for certain types of tourists, certain types of intent, you can actually retarget using this kind of intent. Was that clear? Okay. Now, best thing about this is it gives you a higher click-through rate. Because like I just gave you an example, right? That best hotel room to view sakura blooms from, it's so relevant to me. I'm going to go to Tokyo, I need a hotel room. And I want to see the sakura flowers bloom. And that is so relevant to me, I'm going to click on it. So, higher click-through rate translates to lower cost, translates to better return on advertising spend. If this applies to both Google and Facebook. Okay, now, next thing is crack them before you sell to them. Yes. So, just now, Charles was saying Facebook used to allow you to download connections. Right now, LinkedIn still allows you to download your connections. Ta-da. You can get an archive of your data with all your connections on it. And inside, you have the email addresses. Amazing thing is, both Google and Facebook have what they call, in Google it's customer match, in Facebook it is custom audiences. Have you all ever read this article online about how a guy pranked his roommate by doing this thing called custom audiences? Okay, so I can't remember the full story, but basically what he did was he created an advertisement that targeted his roommate only. Something like, I know what you eat, it was this food or something like that. And he created a custom audience with just that guy on there. And because the limit to custom audiences on Facebook is 20 people, you can create that one guy, that poor fella, and 19 fake accounts. And you will still target the one guy. So for Google, the limit is much, much higher. I think it's a couple of thousand, but you're still able to do a customer match. Another bit of trivia, Facebook allows you to target by phone number, not just email. And Google actually has a pretty good match for multiple accounts, multiple email accounts. If I remember correctly, it's there, 50.4% match rate based on your different email accounts. So, I mean, a lot of you will have different email accounts, right? If you have your own personal account, you have your Facebook, your Gmail business account, maybe you have another general inquiry or info@yourbusinessname.com account. So all these different accounts, you have about 50%, 50.4% match rate. This was from 2 years ago. Now, I mean, given how Google improves so drastically, very, very quickly, I expect this to be higher. I haven't been able to find, and we haven't done more research that proves this statistic is higher, but it's pretty good. Okay, so how do you use this? Past and future customers. Let's say a customer has bought something from you before, but after a while, they just dropped off somehow. They didn't buy again. And you want to sell to them again now that you have something new. You have a new product, you have a new feature, you fix a bug that was plaguing your software for a long time, or you hired new people to improve your service, you have a new consultant in the business, all that kind of stuff. You can actually pitch all these kind of things to them before you actually reach out to them. This is something like Inception, right? And you can actually insert this on the next level. For example, GLIS. So in GLIS, you actually have the officers who are in charge of the tender or quotation that's over there. Okay, so you can see the names and where they are working at. If you are able to find these people and insert your company's offerings to them while they are browsing social media, because they are real people after all, right? If you are able to find them and insert the concept of your product, your service, your brand to them, before you even submit your proposal, you get the idea. Okay? Now, sales become more effective, that's to say the least. And we move on to a different kind of growth hacking. This is what they like to call themselves the outsourced part-time sales team. How many of you are in B&I? One. Okay, you can do some marketing later. So B&I is basically, they have different chapters, I think 33 local chapters. Each chapter has 30 to 75 members. And basically what they do is they learn about your business and you learn about your business very intimately. As such, they can become, they focus a lot on referral marketing, referral selling. And as such, they can help you by introducing customers to you, introducing leads to you, and you do the same in return. If you look at the statistics per chapter, every chapter gets millions of dollars. If you run one business and you like to market that business, referral marketing is very, very effective in Singapore. In Asia in general. I mean, Asians all love referrals. Right? Sometimes a referral can trump even a cheap price. Especially if you do things like do work in China. You will know that. Okay, and you have events like this. So if you organize an event, or the online version is you create a group, a LinkedIn group, you can actually get members in. And you can get the contact details, you can sell to them. There's Meetup, there's Eventbrite, there's startup hubs that organize events. Oops, wrong one. Okay, anyway, last thing on this part. In Singapore, everyone will bargain. It is a very well established fact, everyone admits. I mean, I see all the faces you all know, right? I will bargain also. So, a very, very easy way to get more sales is actually by adjusting the pricing model. Since everyone loves to bargain, you just price your things a little bit higher and make sure that when you talk to them, businesses usually you have a better chance of engaging with them on a level that is not just hi, buy. You can actually talk to them, discuss with them their requirements. It gives you a chance to engage, and when you offer a higher price, it gives you, the way you phrase it, right, it gives them the opportunity to go like, hey, too high lah, too expensive, can discount, right? And then if you price slightly higher, you can always give them that discount, since you already anticipated that anyway. And if they don't ask for that discount, you give them that discount anyway, they're even happy and you become your loyal customers again. Okay. Of course, this doesn't apply to all businesses, doesn't apply to all situations, this is just something you can consider. Okay, and now we're going to talk about SEO because the meetup is growth hacking at SEO, right? Okay, now, right track. The SEO that you don't really hear about much is local SEO. Who has heard about local SEO? 2 people. 3? Anyone? 2 people. Local SEO is basically what gives small companies, local companies, an advantage when you do your SEO listings. It basically refers to how the localized search works. So there are a few parts to it. Okay, first it allows local brands to compete with brands. Second thing is there's this thing called a snack pack, and all this work on a different algorithm. So you see this thing at the side, everyone has definitely seen this before. Okay, this is actually one of our clients. Hyperberg Medical Services Private Limited, Hyperberg Oxygen Therapy Center. It's a very, very keyword-rich business name. Okay, that thing at the side allows you to get a lot of business information right at the start. Another thing that you'll see is the map search or the snack pack. Last time it used to be 10 different ones. They reduced to 7, reduced to 5, reduced to 3, went up to 5, and up to 3 again. 3 different businesses that are near you. This is especially effective on mobile. In fact, there are a lot of grey hat SEO techniques that use the near me or location-based search to do a lot of monetization techniques. So all of this actually work on a different algorithm. There are 4 things you need to do if you want to get out there. Google My Business, have a good website, get citations, and backlinks. Okay? Now, I'll go through them very, very quickly. Google My Business is basically what allows you to have that thing at the site. So, all you do is go to mybusiness.google.com, sign up, get a postcard, enter the pin from the postcard into your what Google shows you, and they're listed. Now, here's a tip. If you have a business that is very keyword dense, you rank an average of 1.5 spots higher. Meaning, in the case of the hyperbaric chamber, right, if your company's name is Hyperbaric Singapore Oxygen Therapy, you will rank higher for the keywords Hyperbaric Singapore than if another business, let's say woundhealingsingapore.com. Even though they may target the same space, the same hyperbaric kind of context, hyperbaric search terms, just because you have the words hyperbaric chamber Singapore in your business name, you rank an average of 1.5 spots higher. Okay. Funny thing about that being applied to Singapore is if you're in a food business, it doesn't really make sense because you have Katong Laksa in Bugis, and then you have a lot of other. What did we see a few days ago? Maxwell chicken rice somewhere else. So even though you search for that particular location, if you're in a hawker business, it doesn't really match. Anyway, that's just trivial. So you must have a good website. That's the second thing. And having a good website, you can talk a long time about this, but I'm just going to condense all of it into a few things. First is it has to be mobile friendly. If you don't, this is a very simple thing. Mobile search algorithm, if you're searching on mobile, there was this thing that came out recently, Mobile Gaiden or something like that. Was it? So anyway, Google penalizes your website if you're not mobile friendly when you're searching on mobile. And in Singapore, you get an average of 8% drop off at more if your website is not mobile friendly. Having a website that scales down to size, so all your texts are really small, that's not mobile friendly. Okay? Now, of course, it gives you an additional advantage of it being higher converting. Next thing is you must have original unique content. This is a very commonly used term when you watch all the Google podcasts and all that kind of stuff. But what it really means is that your content has to be original. It's not copied from anywhere. It has to be useful. So people actually make use of it to do something. It can be business information, it can be content marketing, which is very popular now. And this is actually what the algorithm has always been favoring in all these past years. Right? And if you have good content, it allows you to get backlinks more easily, which you will see later on is a very big factor as well. It gives Google also a better contextual understanding of your website, because if you have too few words, that's why there are some people who recommend that say you must have at least 300 words on your page. It does give Google a better contextual understanding of what your page or your website is. Okay, and yes, you have to define your canonical pages. This actually means that if you have pages that are very similar to each other, with just like different words targeting different groups, or for different views, let's say you have certain files that are not mobile friendly when you embed them, and you create a different page with exactly the same content but a different size, that kind of stuff. Canonical pages basically tells Google, you just refer to this one. This is the main one. You want to repost content, same thing. You have to define canonical pages. Next thing is HTTPS. Mattcast is the spam lead in Google, anti-spam lead. He has already announced more than once, I think, that HTTPS is a ranking factor. There are over 200 ranking factors in Google search algorithm. I am not from Google, just want to disclaimer. Okay, but there are well-researched more than 200 different ranking factors, both positive and negative to the algorithm, and HTTPS is one of them. Furthermore, if you haven't heard, come later this year, if you do not have HTTPS, that lock icon beside your URL bar implemented, Chrome, which more than 50% of users use now anyway, will show this not secure thing beside your URL. So imagine you're a business, you have a website, and right beside the domain name it goes not secure. That's not a very good thing to have. Right, so just get it. It costs like $20 here for a certificate. Okay, and there is one added advantage. If you don't use CDN, Content Delivery Network, you can run it on the HTTP2, which provides you a very good advantage in loading speed. If you are running an e-commerce site, a site that has heavy images, a lot of different content, a lot of resources being loaded, you want HTTP2 because it allows you to load everything asynchronous speed. Right? Now, next thing is schema text. This is a little bit technical. The thing is, when you are doing what we call citations later, right? You have three things that are very important: your name, address, and phone number. But we'll get to that. But natural language processing is not 100% accurate, and that applies even to Google. When you want to have, when you have a business with a lot of details like where you are, what's your phone number, what's your fax number, what do you serve, what's the currency, accept they accept credit cards, all that kind of stuff. You can actually list them and tag them. What kind of business you are, right? You can actually tag them. So in this case, we have Fish and Co. You have code like that. You have to understand this code. You just have to understand that this code allows you to define things like address, a street address, where is it contained in, if it's you contain a shopping center, for example, where's the address country. And basically what this does is it allows search engines, not just Google, but Bing and Baidu. Yes, Baidu uses it as well. Okay, to actually find out exactly what this information means. So if you don't have this already implemented, ask your developer, your web developer. It's a very, very simple addition. Okay, now, next thing is, there are a lot of spam techniques around on the web. If you were to see the Google guidelines, Webmaster guidelines, you will see a whole list of them. You can go wiki and find out more about them, but don't use them. Very simply because Google's algorithm will catch up with you sooner or later. They are so advanced now. So, if you use the old way of doing PDNs, Web 2.0 links, all that kind of stuff, if you know what I'm talking about, you should consider reducing them or not use them at all. Especially because we're in Singapore, the report and telling on competitors, the kind of mindset, right, is very, very prevalent. You do it to competitors, find out, report, and that's it. You have to answer to Google. You don't want your website to get delisted for this kind of reasons, right? Next thing is keyword stuffing. If you see things right at the start of the page, at the bottom of the page, a lot of keywords that are related to the industry, related to your site, all this kind of stuff, just keywords alone, don't do that. That's also a spam tactic. Like and comment spamming, this is also very, very common. Used to be very common, not so much anymore. Last time you would register a Facebook page as your business, that's very, very keyword dense. And then you go to other pages and start liking posts and commenting as that page. That's actually very annoying. So, and it's now marked as a negative ranking signal. So don't do that. So this is what we call PDN, where you have low quality articles being posted across different sites, and all these different sites link to other sites, and all those other sites link to your money sites, which is supposed to get the link juice. This technique, it can work for a couple of months, but with the latest updates from Google's algorithm, you can expect them to get found out very, very quickly, and you have penalized rankings over there. Keyword stuffing, this is Google's example. I'm not going to read it because it's like a tongue twister. Laugh, but you will see a lot of this online. I still see a lot of this online. And yeah, cheap paragraph, who wants them? Anyway, citations. So next thing, you have the name, address, and phone number, 3 things, right? That you must put everywhere in order for Google to know that your business is alive, that it's there, that it's legitimate. Where can you put this up? News sites. Award sites, like if you pay for an award, because in Singapore, I don't think there's any awards that they really give out for free. All those SME awards, Singapore Business Awards, all those things, you have to pay $15,000 for them and then you can claim PIC. Okay? Yeah, I got actually approached on 3 separate occasions for 2 different businesses. And each time they asked me to pay $15,000 for it. No. Okay, anyway, but if you have the award, it can help you, it just doesn't help you. Okay? It could help you, and if it does, and they feature you on their sites, make sure you get the correct name, address, phone number format on it. You can post on directory listings like Hot Frog, Foursquare. In Singapore, you even have places like the Smart Local, Singapore Business listings that you can actually post a lot of your business stuff on. And you have job sites. You have Intern SG, Job Street, Jobs DB, and a lot of others. You can post on Craigslist, Gumtree as well, but that doesn't really help as much, I think. Anyway, there are 3 parts to this: name, address, phone number. Alright, you don't have. You will read online that if you do some more research, that you have to put these in a very specific order, very specific format. It must be your address spelled this way, comma, space, other things, comma, space, other things. But you don't actually have to do that. I mean, give Google some credit. If you every time you post a slightly different format of your content online and they detect it as a new business, Google will be flooded with new businesses. They are able to do some kind of linking, with the different formats that you have. Okay, and last thing, backlinks. especially effective if you have local backlinks, .com.sg, .sg, .edu.sg, .gov.sg, even though .gov.sg doesn't really give out backlinks. All the more precious they are if they ever come by. Okay, if you have any of those backlinks linked back to you, your site in Singapore, your local search, as long as you're searching in Singapore, your rankings will be higher. Okay, ways to get backlinks. First way, there's this thing called Google Alerts if you haven't heard of it. Google.com/alerts. Find an alert on your brand, your company name, your brand name, and all this kind of stuff. Every day you get an email on new listings that Google has indexed about your company. If you're able to find that, you cannot just, step one is you try to turn that mention, that brand mention or that company mention into NAP, the name, address, phone number format. Second thing you can do is try to convert it into a backlink. Right? Another way is use your media network. You're in Singapore, you've done NS if you're a guy. NS Man magazine has stuff, Pioneer magazine has stuff. They're always looking for new content, right? Make use of that. If you went to school over here, you can use your alumni status, you can use your faculty status, your links, try to get links or features or any kind of listing on them. And a very easy way also is to do competitor research, which means if you have a competitor in the same industry, you can find out what they have already done. If you find certain things that they have done that are, two things you usually find. One is things that they have done, and you go like, okay, maybe I can approach the same people, and maybe they will feature me in my website and my business as well. The second thing you will usually find is that, oh, they're engaged in some dodgy stuff, like all that spam techniques that I mentioned earlier, and then you can go to report. Okay, this is actually a technique that I have seen being used. So people reporting the competitors' rank drop, and therefore their rank goes up. I'm not saying you should do it. It's a temporary measure at best. Okay, maybe not at best, but it's a temporary measure. I'm not saying you should do it, but I've seen it happen before. It's a real thing. Okay, now, you can use tools like SEM, Rush, Majestic, OpenSite, Explorer. Just go Google for this kind of things, backlink checkers, you will find them. Okay, just, it's all over the net. Now, next thing you want to do is legitimate guest posting. Now, you might have read somewhere, some places, that guest posting is out. Matt Cutts has made statements that guest posting is out. But when they say guest posting is out, they refer to the low quality form of guest posting, because when you do the competitor research, I assure you, if your industry is big enough, you will find the companies that do all this dodgy stuff, right? You will see what you mean by guest posts. You will see low quality websites where all you have to do is submit your blurb, so what the company is about, your anchor text and everything, just submit to them, and they will post wholesale onto their blog. So if you're in the beauty industry, you post, and you run a beauty business, you create this entire set of description about what your company is about, and then you have very keyword-rich anchor text like best beauty salon in Singapore, and then you link to your website. You just copy the whole thing and paste to them, and they'll just take the whole thing and put it on their beauty website. So it seems like there's high relevance because they're in the beauty industry also, but that is what Matt Cutts means by guest posting, and that is not going to be relevant for you. That is going to be a very big killer for you, because since the last two updates, the anti-spam techniques have really taken shape and really targets this a lot. And if they don't, Singapore will report anyway. Okay? So, ways to find legitimate guest posting places. Google for instance, right for us, I mean guest post, guest posting guidelines, guest post by, and anything that's related to that. You will realize that in Singapore there are an okay number of websites that allow guest posting. Like if you're in the tech, lifestyle, entertainment industry, there is Tech in Asia, E27, Vulcan Post. Even the Smart Local allows you to guest post if you do it properly, right? If you want to go broader, you want to get bigger backlinks. Shopify, HubSpot, they all allow you to post, do guest posts as well. And just go Google for all this within your industry, you should be able to find some of them. If you're in the travel industry, I managed to find, I think, 12 different blogs that allow you to do that. If you're in the tech industry, there's at least more than 10, right? So, yeah, Smart Local, Forbes.com. If you were to know Neil Patel, go YouTube for his videos, for his talks. You'll understand how he managed to guest post for Kissmetrics, his business, analytics business, on Forbes.com. Alright? Yeah, that's the end. I hope that wasn't too dry. Anyone still awake? Okay, any questions for me?
Okay, let's say about the backlinks. Okay,
Yep.
somebody wants to sabotage your website. So let's say he goes to Fiverr and gets all those packages.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you survive from this? Like somebody wants to target your website and sabotage it.
Oh, so you mean someone actually hires someone on Fiverr, for example,
Yeah.
to create backlinks for your website to sabotage you?
Correct. So how would you compare?
There is something called a disavow tool. So this is not just a proactive thing, and not just a reactive thing, but a proactive thing as well. You have to constantly measure what your website is performing on. So if you're able, you don't just want to track your competitors, you have to track yourself as well, right? Because all these things can happen. A lot of times it's very reactive because by the time Google penalizes you or some other search engine penalizes you, you already are losing customers, you're not ranking, you're not performing well. But if you're able to always keep track, monitor on what's your backlink situation, what's your brand mention situation, like what I mentioned, Google Alerts, brand mentions it is the more superficial level of, or rather not so technical level of keeping track of what your business is, how your business is performing on the web. So sign up for those accounts, SEM, Rush, Majestic, or some of them. Monitor what your website is performing, and then Google provides this thing called a disavow tool. You go to Google Webmaster Central, now it's called Google Search Console, right? Go on there and you can disavow links that link to you, and that will help.
But what if there are many? Because usually they sell in thousands. Then are you going to do it one by one?
Yes. or you can hire someone on Fiverr to do it for you.
Okay. Makes sense.
Anything else? Yes.
Regarding the email, right, you are mentioning that you send all the email
Mhm.
and the targeted one did actually read it. Most of the time, you just go to some kind of generic email and don't go to the appropriate person.
Okay.
So I was wondering how you have managed to get the correct person open. And
Okay.
when you go to the correct person, doesn't mean that the correct person will go to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so there are a few factors at play over here. First thing is, I have to have a disclaimer that I'm very lucky that there's a demand over there. I managed to find a niche market. That there is a demand for it. Okay. Second thing is, you're right. There are a lot of cases where emails go to a generic mailbox and don't get read, or they bounce. Right? So there are a few solutions to that. First is you use something like litmus to find out whether your emails are bouncing, what's the bounce rate for them, whether you're in any of the spam checklists, because some of your clients they use, or even some of my clients they use the spam checkers and stuff. If your website is on the list somehow because of past experiences or someone sabotaging you or that kind of stuff, you can actually try to delist yourself from those indexes. Litmus is a tool that helps you keep track of all these kind of things. So another technique I did was you find out what that company is, and then you try to find people from that company. You don't just send directly to that email, that generic email address. So you find company.com or something at that company.com. You go on Google and find other email addresses, specific names. A lot of times, are you getting where I'm going? So you don't just look for the generic email, but you find that domain, and then you try to find other email addresses from Google from that domain. And then you send to those. More often than not, you will find more than one other email address for the domain. So then you can just send to like 3 or 4 of them at the same time. Someone will read it, and if it's really useful, you will forward it to the rest internally as well. Yes?
Got a question specific to my company, so let me pick your brains. We're a publishing company. We've got access to a newswire, and that's a lot of syndicated content around the world. So that stuff is featured elsewhere. At the same time, we create original content here, but we publish quite a lot of the syndicated stuff and a bit of the original stuff. Have you naturally want to get more original stuff, but we've got some people within the company who are a bit scared of if we start publishing less of that syndicated stuff. Well, can you get any sense of how much original stuff and how much copied stuff and what are the negative effects going to be on Google search rankings Do you think there's like a tipping point, or any feelings on that? Hard to say.
I try not to use feelings when it comes to that. Data will be the best gauge. What
Yes.
I would, okay, so in terms of publishing, one of our clients is actually Gov Insider. It is a publishing platform for government news around Singapore.
Yep.
And they post only original content. They don't have
I know
syndicated
they are.
content.
Yeah, that's right.
And we actually, with original content, we actually managed to get them ranked in Google News within 1.5 months.
Mhm.
So a lot of Singapore-related news, especially government stuff, they will rank in 1 or 2 very frequently. Are you ranked in Google News?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes, right? Perhaps you might want to try to explore ways to get higher ranking in those in Google News as a start. When you get traffic, maybe find out what is the read rate, the bounce rate, and how, maybe what kind of demographics of people read the different kinds of content that you have, original versus the syndicated. And from there, you can probably make a decision on whether it's good or not.
Yeah, I think that's the route we've got to go down. It's, we've got the data, just motivating people to make a change. Yep.
All right. Yes.
How to improve ranking for organic search?
That's a very generic question. So there are, like I mentioned, more than 200 different factors, positive and negative, that affect your ranking. So it would take me a very, very long time to go through these 200 factors. But let me give you a general idea. Backlinks are still important. So backlinks gives approximately 21% to the Google search algorithm in terms of weightage, right? So if you get good backlinks, I mean, you know how the concept of authority works in terms of backlinking? Like if CNN or BBC links to you, it's and you're a news site, for example, you get much better authority than if, let's say, joetheplumber.com links to you, right? So an authoritative website that's relevant to your field, linking to you, gives you a huge boost. Now, there are another 215 techniques to go. I'll give you another example that is not very technical. So there's something what we call poll sticking, which means if you search for something, your search intent is there. You click on a website, and then you go back, and then you click on another website. Generally, that is inferred to be a negative ranking signal for the first website, because it tells the search engine that the first website doesn't really suit the search intent. Right, so that is treated as a negative ranking signal for that particular search term to the website. Okay, there are a lot of others. If you run a business website, I am very sure you have received emails from everywhere, right, telling you, hey, your website has a problem. Let me give you a free report, right? Yeah, so a lot of times when they give you a report, it's technical. They'll tell you things like, hey, you're not using your H1 tags, you're not putting your title tag over there, your op tag over there, all that kind of stuff. And they will be right. Okay, to be very fair to them, they're right. They're using most likely an automated web checker, some kind of automated tool to go through the code and stuff and determine what you're doing right or wrong. But generally, when they give you this kind of technical advice, they're right, because it still contributes, as of what I last read, about 16 to 18% of the search algorithm depends on all these technicalities, whether you have really coded your website properly. Other things like how fast a page loads, page speed insights. If you go to testmysite. What is it? Think google.com. Yeah, you will find an online version of the page speed insights that can check your website for different things. One thing that can help again is HTTP2 or SSL techniques, which I mentioned just now. Put up HTTPS on your server, on your domain, implement a CDN. Sorry, I know it's very technical. Implement a content delivery network that delivers static images and resources very quickly to people who are near you. So, okay, just a show of hands. Who doesn't know what CDN? Okay, free advice. CDN stands for Content Delivery Network. It refers to a network of servers that mirror static content, things like your JavaScript files, your images, your videos, anything that doesn't change a lot. Not the dynamic content, that every day it changes, user-generated content, all those things. They don't mirror that, but they mirror the static content, and they are placed all over the world. So, if the website's server is hosted in the US, for example, and I'm in Singapore, if I were to load the site usually, I will get the stuff from the US server, and cross-continental, oceanic, yes, speeds are very, very slow, compared to if they have a CDN in Singapore. They will just mirror the content to the Singapore server, and every time you in Singapore want to access it, you'll be accessing the static content from the Singapore server, which gives you the content much, much faster. So that's what the CDN does. If you do anything like e-commerce, you want to consider using. CDN also gives you one additional advantage. Most of them already use HTTP2, which gives you asynchronous loading, meaning if you see sites like you have 12 or 16, 20 different images on one site, and you load, a lot of times you have to wait for one to load, and then the next one will load, next image will load. HTTP2 allows you to have all these images loaded at the same time, because this is actually not a connection issue in general, but a browser limit on connection. Okay? Yes?
I'm sure that a lot of business owners, they are not really capable of building their own websites, so they engage external web designers or providers to do it.
Yes, like us.
Yes, like yourself. So in terms of choosing the right person or the right company to do it for you, like you said, there's so many technicalities involved. What are sort of like things that we can look out for so that we select the right company? Because like, can we ask them stuff? Like, what are sort of things that we should ask them when they look at companies?
I think in terms of that, when you have to look for someone to do your website, the biggest problem is project management rather than technical tools. I mean, we talk about the technicalities later on, but project management is the biggest issue because from experience, a lot of our clients, what they say is, initially, when we first started, by the time they come to us, they've already been through 2 or 3 different other agencies, and they go like, oh, they're horrible. Some of them, they're only after the grants, ICB, CDG, PIC. Some of them, they can't actually project manage. They'll try to do something, they'll do it halfway, and then they'll just drop off. They can't complete it. So being able to see past completed projects, being able to answer you exactly how they project manage, what tools they use to project manage, for example, is one very good tell point, right? On whether they can actually complete a project or not. And then I'll post this presentation up. You can ask them, you can look through it and ask them questions from here and see whether they can answer them the same way. Yes?
What's the best practice for the website revamp such that the rankings are affected?
That's a very big question again. Very, very quickly, you want to design it such that it is pre-designed already. You have to make sure that all your past links are 301 redirected to your new links, so that old link juice is passed to your new sites.
What about the address is still the same, just that the website is revamped and the code is could be different, the design is different, the structure could be different?
In general, if your URLs are all the same, and only the design, the layout and stuff are different, I think that wouldn't really be a big problem in that case. Am I missing anything? Anything?
Because certain website is optimized for the SEO, right? So I believe that there's some strategy to optimize your website so that it is ranked high. So what if you change something that is so critical that your rank will be affected?
If it's a positive change, good for you. Right?
But you are not sure whether it is a positive or not.
Then ask a consultant. That's the best way, because it's such a broad topic. I can't actually give you a very direct, succinct answer. It will take me hours to explain the whole process. Okay, thank you all for coming. If you have any questions, please send them my way, lads@searix.net. I'll gladly answer them as much as I can. So the next meetup I will announce in the group. If you guys are interested, it will most likely be on B2C Growth Hacking. There are a lot of very interesting techniques that I couldn't cover here because they're B2C. This is a B2B one only. So hope to see you guys again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.